Hi again, it's me, Cinnamon. I'm a 23-year-old working a corporate job who loves all things personal finance, especially budgeting. And today I will be recapping my spending for April. Before I get into my spending categories, I do want to look at my recent moves to let you guys know some changes I made offline. So there were first a few small changes I made offline, starting with covering my eating out overspending with my groceries category. I like to put the money in my groceries category because I aspire to spend it on groceries, but I know I'll probably spend it on eating out. So I just make sure I make that transfer so that my overall food spending is under a certain amount. I also had to fix something where I had some money that I got from cashback put into my overall investing category instead of my cashback investing category. So I just made sure I made that move so my accounting could be correct. And the next big move that I made, the most important move that I made, was that I was able to move $440 from my Mexico City sinking fund to my discretionary spending fund. And the reason I was able to do that is because when I opened my Capital One portal to buy my ticket for Mexico City, I saw that I had 750 extra dollars in there. And that is because I got my sign up bonus. So that was a really, really pleasant surprise. And I was so excited to see that because I totally kind of had the sign up bonus out of mind. Normally, I don't like to factor in the sign up bonus when I evaluate a credit card because I like to see if the card will pay for itself year over year. And the sign up bonus is a one time thing. But in this case, the sign-up bonus really did help me out when I was kind of dealing with a budget situation that I was not too happy with because I don't like to see my discretionary spending fund wiped out, which is what it was at the end of my last video. And now, kind of redoing the math of the Capital One card with the sign-up bonus in mind, it pays for itself for at least 2 years, maybe 3 years, if you're factoring, a few of the other benefits of the card. So that is cool to me. And yeah, I'm really happy. I decided to get this travel card. I did know I'd be doing a lot of traveling this year, but I ended up doing even more than I planned. And this card has definitely helped me out in a bind. And now I'm getting the credit card churners because it is just so cool having money for doing absolutely nothing. It takes no time at all, really. So that was really cool. Anyway, once I was able to get my discretionary spending fund back to having some money in it, I was able to cover some overspending that I had been carrying for the week because I didn't really know how else I would be able to cover that overspending without creating shortages in categories where I thought I would need money. Anyway, the last set of things I did was my normal monthly rollover routine where I took my money from my next month's holding category and put it to my for spending categories. I also got some interest from my high yield savings account. I set that aside in my interest investing category and also set aside some taxes to for that interest. Let's go to May. One thing that was interesting about May is that it is a 5 grocery week. So I was a little underfunded for this week because I only set aside in my next month's holding category enough money for 4 grocery weeks. So I was $90 underfunded here, but actually less than $90 because I had some rollover. So I was $75 underfunded here. So I did cover that with my discretionary spending group. And then I also covered my health insurance and additional deductions, my legal insurance. I prepaid for that with my discretionary spending group as well. So that is why, even though I put $440 into my discretionary spending group and then funded an additional $300 to that group, I'm only $20 up. And that makes it even better that I was able to find a way to put money back into that group in April because if I didn't have that $440, I would only have $20 in buffer room for even this month. So that would have been really tight. This is getting a little bit into the next budgeting video, but I'm pretty sure with this money, I will decide to set aside some of it for my New York City trip because I will be doing a lot with my family. I just don't know how much we're going to end up doing, how much it's going to cost because this is going to involve multiple people. And I usually don't have expenses that are outside of myself. So, yeah, just having more buffer room is going to be a huge help when I do go to New York. So, that is how my travel card was basically able to save my budget, and I'm so happy about it. Now, let's get into the recap. So, to start off the recap, I brought in $15,123.66 for April, and this is slightly lower than normal because in March, I actually got paid early for my March interest, March 31st. So that left me with no interest payment in April. So I'm a little bit lower on income in April for that reason. Also in April, I had a higher tax expense than normal, $5,928.93, and that is because I was paying for what I owed in 2023 taxes this month. And in April, I invested $5,904.27. And while that looks lower than normal, it actually isn't because these numbers are a bit inflated, or these numbers are significantly inflated because they account for other months. So in February, I invested the money I made in January, which was a 3 paycheck month. So that is why this number was high in February. And in March, I invested the money I made in February and March. So that is why this number is high in March. But let's see. If we look at what I assigned in April, $5,904, that is pretty close to $6,228 that I assigned in March. The $6,082.33 that I assigned in February. So it's not too far off. Yeah, so I think I am on track there. These slight month-to-month nuances are pretty much why I don't like to do any automatic investing, because the number will change slightly month to month. Because, like, for example, in April, I had to reduce my investment slightly to cover my dividend taxes and stuff like that. So I like to just use ynab and do these really exact numbers. And yeah, I think that gives me the best handle on my budget. Now to get into my personal spending. Okay. So starting with my largest category, I spent $2,805.20 on my core spending group, with $1,700 going towards my rent, $395.41 going towards eating out. And I've been eating out a lot more this month than past months because, one, I haven't liked the last few weeks of like HelloFresh options. I haven't liked enough recipes to want to order a box. And I was still like having a pretty regular schedule where I wasn't home so much, so it was really hard to do HelloFresh and not waste food. And I really like feel terrible wasting food, so it was just easier to kind of think about food on a day-to-day basis. And lastly, I did have a really busy end of the work week after I got back, and I just like didn't have time to think about food too much, so it was just easier to order out. But I definitely want to go back to cooking because I don't feel that great eating out. Like, yeah, I just enjoy my cooking more. I'm no like professional chef, but I just enjoy my cooking more. So that is that. And then on social activities, I spent $258.08. A lot of this was food. A lot of this was boba. So I got boba this time. Let's see, when else did I get boba? More boba, more boba. Pina coladas. Let's see. And this was also more boba, but the reason why it was so high is because I also got it for my boyfriend and his brother. Um, yeah, so much boba. That was like my treat to myself, just like through the work days. And yeah, that was it for social activities. So when you add these two categories together, it's around $650 on food, which is still significantly lower than what I used to spend on food. So, like, I'm quite happy with this setup, even though I would prefer to be spending more on groceries than eating out. I am still like very well within my food budget. Or I guess I was over the food budget. No, I guess I was over the food budget, but I'm pretty close. Okay. Transportation, $158. This is just on Ubers and Lyfts and stuff like that. $104 to household utilities, $62 for my health insurance as usual, $58 on aesthetic expenses. I ordered some clothes. I really want them to come before I go to New York because I do want to wear what I ordered to the airport. It's going to be these like really, really cozy sweatpants. Um, but yeah, I ordered them a while ago and I haven't gotten like any sort of confirmation details from the order, so I might have to do a chargeback on my card or something. Groceries, I spend $35 on some crab cakes. Crab cakes are so expensive. I got 4 crab cakes for this. And then little things on my legal insurance, renter's insurance, and small expenses. Hmm, that's actually interesting. Okay, I bought this in Miami at CVS, but I guess I just put it in my like normal budget. That makes sense. That good stuff. Okay. So yeah, when I add in this extra grocery spending, I'm at like 688, so under 700. I'm still pretty happy with that, especially because a lot of this social activity spending is like boba that I got with people and I was covering it different times. Okay, so that is my core spending. The next largest category I have is my specific sinking funds at $1,768.37. And first, I spent $862.39 on a charity ball, $300 which went to the ticket, and a bit more went to the processing fee for that ticket, and $551.20 of which went to my flight. Then I spent $481.20 on another flight to New York. And lastly, I spent $424.78 in Miami, and I didn't even do anything crazy with that money, mostly just on Ubers getting to and from the airport and to and from my consultation. Another large expense I had was the one dinner I did have in Miami. I got an appetizer, I got yuca fries, I got oxtail stew, and I got a papaya smoothie, and that was $65.09 with tax, tip, and a 4% credit card fee, which I did not know about before I decided to use my credit card. I would have definitely used my debit card if I knew about that, but it's totally fine. Aside from that, I didn't get like any other meals there, like sit down meals or anything like that. I mostly got food. Well, I got the smoothie to rehydrate after my flight, and I mostly got food to have like a place to sit and work um, after my consult. So let's see. Yeah, like I spent $12 on a blueberry smoothie that I really didn't want that much just to be able to work at a cafe because I don't know, I always feel like awkward, sitting somewhere working if I don't buy anything. And I think I also spent $2.50 to work at Starbucks. I got like a marshmallow dream bar because I don't really drink coffee, which is a huge part of other people's budgets, which I find so interesting. Yeah, little things like that. Mostly a lot of money just spent on Ubers and Lyfts. I think though I did budget like initially put $400 aside for this category or 410 or something like that. So I really did come close to my estimates and I'm pretty happy about that. I definitely enjoyed my time in Miami, even though I was only there for 2 days. I feel like that city did blow me away and I was like, whoa, this is going to be the next big city in America. And I was really like, should I move to Miami? Like I feel like it was definitely like where things were happening, especially in the business world, especially for like young people, which is so different from the current area I'm in. So I was like fantasizing a lot about should I move to Miami? What do it take to move to Miami? And when I get home, there's like a How Money Works video about like why Miami is the way it is and all the financial incentives it's created. that's been attracting businesses and all of that stuff. And I was like, wow, I really, really do get all of that because it reflected so much of my experience in the city. I don't know if I'm going to move to Miami. It's not very realistic because, at least for the current industry I'm in, I would have to take a pretty big pay cut. But I am thinking about moving industries. It's pretty related to my current industry, but I am thinking about moving industries to like the financial services industry. This wouldn't be personal finance, this would be more so like asset and wealth management. And that is definitely growing in Miami. So I don't know, it might be something. Who knows? But I definitely enjoyed my time there. And my last spending category group is my general sinking funds at $146.08, with some money going to cat food for my boyfriend's cat. And I also got him dinner one time. So if I just got my boyfriend dinner or got anyone dinner and like I don't eat with them, I just like count that as a gift. But if I eat with them, I count that as a social activity. So that is where that division is coming from. And then $100 going towards my consultation. This was my cheapest consult. All of my consults in Beverly Hills were at least $300. So this was very, very cheap at $100. And this man is also probably my doctor. Like, you can just tell when someone is very particular about their work and they really just treat it as their craft. And he's definitely one of those people. And I do have a lot of confidence in his abilities. I'm still sitting on whether or not I'm going to really do the surgery because he is like, if there's anyone who's going to give me my dream nose, I truly think it is this doctor. But I felt like the results I was seeing were kind of underwhelming. And I think that's just because there is a limit on what can realistically be done. And so I'm like, is it worth it to me to pretty much have the same nose, but like leaves out on $15,000 or something? I did get a quote from him. It's $14,000, but I want to also think about the flight there, hotel stay there, all of that stuff will add up. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still sitting on it, but that is my spending for April in total. I can't wait to film my first budget video of May because that will really set me up for all of the trips I'm going to be going on. While my card did save me and it took a lot of pressure off my budget by allowing me to have more buffer room, another thing that I just felt after looking at this month's recap is that my systems are working. I was able to really spend a lot in my specific sinking funds on myself without having to break any of my big rules. Like, I didn't have to cut on my investments or anything like that because I had been diligent in the past months about letting things build up and creating these sinking funds. So I knew what I had to think about in the future and setting aside for those sinking funds when it made sense to set aside for them. So I really do feel like my systems are working. I'm still staying within my budget, which I'm really surprised by because I just never thought it would be possible really to like do all of this like socializing and traveling and all of that stuff and stick within like my budget that I'm setting for myself. So I do have to see how these trips go, but I overall really do like trust my system. I'm looking forward to, I'm actually counting the days until I can apply for my next Capital One credit card, which will be the Saver One, which will give me way better points on like the categories I actually spend so much in most of the time, like entertainment, dining out, what else? Groceries, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really glad. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my recap, and I hope to see you guys in my next budget with me. Bye.